This meeting is called to order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cloninger?
Here.
Mrs. Cons?
Here.
Mr. LaValle?
Here.
Mr. Salt?
Here.
Mr. Temby?
Here.
Thank you. If you all would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, which I will lead. Just a little admin note, Ms. Cloninger and Ms. Cons, you probably could hear that. They are here present remotely. So in fact, you two, if you have something to say, just butt in. I think it's a lot easier than trying to text me or text somebody. So feel free when there's a short silence just to butt in, if that makes sense.
That's never been our issue.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me. At this time, let the record show that the public hearing on the 2022-2023 proposed budget is now open. Mr. Gregory.
Yes, Ms. Allen, please.
Good evening. In compliance with state statute, a proposed budget for 22-23.
Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Yeah, we can't really hear you. Can we try to do something there?
Is this better?
Not really.
Not really.
How's this?
Just talk loud.
All right, can you hear me now?
Kind of, sort of, yeah. Thanks.
In compliance with state statute, a proposed budget for 22-23 was presented to the Board of Education on May 12, 2022. The proposed budget was made available for inspection on the district's website on May 13, 2022. Legal notices of the proposed budget were also published in the Gazette, Colorado Springs Indy, and the Colorado Springs Business Journal. The 22-23 proposed budget will be considered for adoption at the June 16, 2022 regular Board of Education meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Cortez, do we have anybody signed up to speak this evening regarding the proposed 2022-23 budget?
We have one individual signed up to speak on the budget.
Okay. Just for all of you that are here, this is a little unusual. Once a year, we do a budget, and next meeting we are going to vote on it. We're having public comment if anybody is interested. One person signed up to speak. The rules that I'm about to read apply to comments for this public budget hearing and for the regular public comments later on in the meeting. The board welcomes public comments. In the interest of respecting the time of all who are present, speakers must have signed up to address the board prior to 4 p.m. and they must limit their remarks to 2 minutes or less. Remember, tonight we start with 2 minutes only. We also ask speakers to address the board and not others in the room. All speakers will be notified of the remaining time via the mounted monitors behind the dais. When the time is ended, the microphone will turn off. Supplemental written materials may be given to the security guards who are seated in the hallway outside of the boardroom. And of course, the bucket is right there as well. And they will be delivered to the board secretary. Profanity or any disrespectful behavior will not be tolerated. We greatly value all comments from the public. However, the board will not respond this evening. One slight caveat to that is the comments for the budget. We do have to reserve the right later on. There is space for board comments. So that is a little different. But if you will, traditional public comments that will be coming a little later, we will not respond to those. Comments from the public at this time must be about the proposed 2022-2023 budget. Ms. Cortez.
Our speaker tonight is Catherine Zukas.
Hey, Tom, do you have your mic on the computer? Because we've got a really bad echo, and I'm wondering if you're speaking into your mic. And
I had mine on here. Let me try this. Did that help?
It's still a little echoey. We'll figure it out.
Okay. We'll wait till Mr. Sackley gets back.
I'm the only one talking about the budget. There's millions and millions of dollars in the budget. Verbal comments on it. My comments are about the funds called the Capital Reserve Capital Project Fund. Next year, they're just paying $5.5 million in expenditures for those funds. And I'd like to propose that it be higher, whether it's in this fiscal year or an upcoming one. Because only $3 million of that fund is being planned for building site modifications and repairs. And this $3 million figure is also planned for the next additional fiscal years, for the next 3 ones. You can see this on page 32 of the executive summary as well as in the details. When I think about the 40-plus public school buildings, by that I mean the non-charter school sites and the capital needs that are being raised by each of these schools taxed to the DAC, I'm not sure that this is a sufficient amount of funding. On page 46 of the budget, the DAC lists a number of high-priority capital needs, which are about the issues of deferred maintenance, carpeting and flooring replacement, upgraded restrooms, and minimum facility standards across the district. You've heard about this in meetings from parents and staff about broken restroom equipment in Westside schools as well. And in the existing sites in the western and central part of this district, the building fund funds allocated to them likely did not cover all of their physical plant maintenance needs. So it seems to me that going forward, these sites will need access to this Capital Reserve Projects funds. I remember attending my SAC meetings in 2015 and 2016 at my school, and we couldn't do what was needed. For example, the elementary school, we had to deprioritize using bond funds for an ADA accessible ramp from the Kiss and Go lot. The building fund probably could not cover this because there were more priorities for that site. In the 2019-2020 fiscal year, you spent $6.4 million on building and site modification repairs. And I'm sure that money was well spent on projects prioritized appropriately. That's on page 179. But $6.4 million is far higher than the $3 million planned and projected, given the inflation rates that are going on, flooring materials, cost more, labor goes up, and whatever's needed for the appropriately designed preschool spaces is going to need to occur in the next couple of years. I encourage you to be aware of this and think about
Thank you.
reserves every year. Thank you.
That concludes the public hearing portion of our agenda. There is a budget discussion, which I mentioned later in the meeting, where members may comment about the proposed 2022-23 budget. Approval of the agenda. Ms. Matson, are there any updates to the agenda?
There were updates to the agenda. The board was notified of these.
Okay. You know what? Let me just interject here. Ms. Cloninger, Ms. Cons, am I correct that you could not hear Ms. Suka's talk? Is that correct?
Yeah, we can't hear a thing. We can barely hear you now.
Now we can't hear you.
Can you hear us?
I've got you loud now. I think that was Cons.
No.
Tom, it's just still echoing really bad, and Mrs. Chukas, we could not hear her.
Okay, I think that was Cons.
We can't hear you either.
You can't hear.
Hey, Nicole. Just kidding.
I'll tell you what, let's. Yeah. I hate to do this, folks. Let's take a 5-minute break, and we'll try to get them sorted out. I do apologize. So, 5-minute break.
Test. Can someone speak in the room?
Shelley, it's Nicole. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very faintly though, and I'm actually on my computer.
Yeah,
Out
me too.
Do you have a headset or do you have are you just going through the speaker?
Going through the speaker, I don't think I have any headsets with me.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Do you hear the reverb?
With you right now, no echo.
Okay. So what we've got is we got a lot of inputs in the room and the mics. If there's two mics on, you're going to get that reverb.
Sure.
Wow.
So, is Becky on?
Yeah.
Becky, can you just speak a little bit? I can't hear you, Becky. Are you talking?
I don't think she is.
She took a 5-minute break too.
Okay. Let me.
Shelley, my thought was that Tom has his laptop open and sometimes he's looking at it too.
Yeah, we made sure that that was off, but I'm going to go double check.
Yeah, because that's the one that I felt like the reverb was coming from,
Okay.
not to point fingers.
And yours is, everybody's is off. Speakers are all off. So, huh? I need to hear it to see if we can get the echo.
This is Becky. Is it working okay?
That's way better, Becky.
Okay. You have been clear the whole time, Ms. Cloninger.
I got that kind of a voice. I can hear Nicole too.
Actually, do you guys hear the echo still?
No?
Yeah.
No, not now.
Okay.
So not pointing any fingers, but
But it's not the people on remote.
Yeah. No, it's actually, it might be the podium mic that's causing it. Hey, Mark, I think it's the podium. Okay. Hey, Matt. Test it. Podium mic. Just I'm not hearing it at all.
Test one.
I think it's the podium mic. Those don't work. I think we just need to use one of the other mics. I think it's the podium.
Hey, Shelley. Nicole, can you hear that reverb when they just started doing whatever they were doing? Or that echo?
I guess I just thought it was background voices of people talking.
It is, but I can see Jackie right there and I can hear her voice. And I can hear it echoing.
Should I test anything or?
I don't know.
Well,
Hey, there you go. Leadership.
nah.
Do we have those little roving mics?
Ms. Cons and Ms. Cloninger, can you hear me now?
With an echo. Tom LaValle, are we echoing for you?
I think we're on. Does that work? Is that working? We kicked it. Ms. Cloninger and Ms. Cons, can either one of you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you with an echo. And nobody from the mic.
Playing with my phone. I'm gonna text him real quick. Ms. Cons.
Yes.
Can you over?
Tom, Mr. LaValle, it's the same echo, but I'm fine with it. I can hear you.
All right, we're gonna proceed. Yes. Thank you. You would be so kind as to do the seconds, that would be great. Okay, we already asked if there are updates to the agenda. Members of the board, there are items you wish to remove from the consent agenda. I see none. Are any items to be added to the agenda? I see none. And given that the mic is working terribly, I'm gonna leave my phone out, so, Ms. Cons, Ms. Cloninger, perhaps if you want to, maybe send me a text, and I'll leave my phone up here, and then I can, hopefully you can hear, we can hear you. If not, you're not gonna be able to speak. We're doing everything we can. So, in deference to guest presenters, please consider the board moving item 12A resolution 2114-22 acceptance of the district and district committee DAC end of year prior to item 9A monitoring report for executive limitation policy asset protection. May we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Cloninger?
Aye.
Mrs. Cons?
Aye.
Mr. LaValle?
Aye.
Mr. Salt? Mr. Temby?
Okay, good. FYI, Ms. Cloninger, Ms. Cons, we could both hear you, so that's good news. Okay. Board quote. I have the quote tonight. It is, life is not determined by what you want, life is determined by the choices you make. And that was from none other than Mr. Seaver, middle school science teacher. I came across this quote. I was reading an editorial from the Wall Street Journal, and I thought this was so good that I just thought it, and it ties in perfectly with Mr. Gregory's graduation speech. And if you may have heard it, he basically said, be the best doctor, be the best engineer, be the best mechanic, whatever. That is a choice. You can choose to be excellent, or you can choose to be mediocre. Our young people should never ever think of themselves as a victim. They can't control their skin color or sex or family structure, but they can choose to do well in school. They can choose to delay gratification and choose to do their absolute best in everything they do. If our students choose to do that, they will be successful in this great country of ours. Thank you. Introduction of new administrators, Mr. Gregory.
Yes, Mr. Smart, please. And team.
All right, thank you. Son, can you hear me now? All right, good, thank you. First of all, good evening. I have two folks we're going to introduce tonight as for administrative positions that are recommended finalists. Each candidate has met all the licensing requirements and completed our rigorous process for achieving the recommendation, including applicant screening, preliminary interviews, final interviews, professional reference checks, and site visits as needed. And we were delighted that many applicants showed interest in these positions, and I want to thank all the staff, support staff, parents, students, administrators who took time to be a part of these interview processes for us. All right, so my first one, I just want to let you know this person has an amazing last name. I'm pleased tonight to introduce Jody Cameron, who's being recommended as the Journey K interim assistant principal. Jody is joined this evening. I have a long list, so bear with me here. By her husband Rod, her son Peyton, who was a graduate of the Liberty High School class of 2019, daughter Caroline, graduate of Liberty High School 2021, son Colton, he's at Legacy Peak. He hasn't graduated yet, he's only second grade, so give him a little time. Virtually, her daughter Lexi, who's a graduate of Liberty High School 2017, and her parents John and Jackie. I'm not sure when they graduated or where from, but don't have those times. Jody holds a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics from Washington State University in Pullman, Washington, and a Master of Education, Educational Instruction, Psychology, and Technology from the University of Oklahoma in Norman, Oklahoma, and a Master's of Science in Mathematics from Montana State University in Bozeman, Montana. Jody started her educational career in Norman, Oklahoma as an 8th grade math and science teacher. She then taught online for the National American University. In 2011, Jody began teaching in District 20 at Discovery Canyon Campus Middle School as an 8th grade math teacher. And she currently serves as the middle school teacher at Journey K-8. We are pleased to present Jody to you tonight for the position of interim assistant principal at Journey K-8. Jody, is there anything you'd like to say?
Good evening. I stood up here and thought for a while that some of you are going to understand when I say this is my Sally Field Academy Award winning moment. So thank you for giving me a chance to speak. I want to thank a few people who've helped me on my journey to get here today. My parents, John and Jackie, Belvis High School, that's what it was. They were a middle school principal and high school biology teacher. I want to thank them for being my first examples of excellence in education. They showed me what it looks like to lead with kindness, to love what you do, and that relationships are the heart of their success. My husband Rod, thank you for supporting me through all of my endeavors, often believing in me before I believed in myself, always telling me to go for it, and for modeling what it looks like to lead with integrity. To my 4 biggest cheerleaders, Lexi, Peyton, Caroline, and Colton, thank you for helping me to remain cool, to remind me to have fun with students, and for all of the texts and notes telling me, you've got this, Mama, you're going to do awesome. Becky, I heard you online. Thank you for taking a risk on me. Mid-November 2011, and for giving me opportunities to learn and grow, for helping me to start my path in D20 that's led me here to today. For Donna Heiner, thank you for being my mentor, for allowing me to be a risk taker, and for giving me opportunities to be a leader. Thank you for showing me how to lead through good times and unprecedented times with grace, fortitude, and always keeping in mind to do what's best for kids. To Ash, thank you for challenging my thinking and for letting me look over your shoulder to learn from your perspective. I'm very excited to be your partner and to help continue building all of the awesome things that are going on at JK8. To the interview committee, to Mr. Gregory and the board, thank you for your vote of confidence and allowing me to grow and to serve at a school that I love and with the best staff that I've ever worked with. I will give my 100% daily to educate and inspire our D20 family to thrive. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jody. All right, and then now I'm pleased tonight to introduce Matt Sisson, who helped get our microphone up and working. Thank you. First test is passed. He's being recommended as the Liberty High School principal. Matt is joined this evening by his wife, Kelly, and daughters, Emily, Claire, and Ava. And they have a little ways before they're going to graduate. So, Matt holds a Bachelor of General Studies from Kent State University in Kent, Ohio, and a Master of Arts in Educational Leadership from the University of Colorado Springs. Matt started his educational career in District 2, developing curriculum for critical thinking and reasoning. He then served in District 8 at Fountain Middle School as their Dean of Students and Assistant Principal. Matt then served in District 49 as the Assistant Principal at Vista Ridge High School, and Matt currently serves as the Principal at Skyview Middle School in District 49. We're pleased to present Matt to you tonight for the position of Principal at Liberty High School. Matt, is there anything you'd like to say?
Good evening. Superintendent Gregory, Principal Valley, distinguished members of the board. On behalf of myself, my family, this is truly an honor to step into the Cuyahoga School District 20 organization. The treatment thus far has been nothing short of extraordinary. I want to take a moment to thank Dr. Smith, Mr. Smart, Dr. Fields. They, along with their team, have been extremely supportive with the onboarding process as I'm juggling like 3 different versions of an email right now, so that's been an interesting process. And the welcome has been amazing. My amazing administrative team and staff have taken me in as one of their own almost immediately. Breakfast was great the other day, by the way. Thank you. I'm still full from that meal. It's a very exciting time to step into the role at a high school as the principal, and I truly appreciate this honor. I look forward to carrying on the great traditions that have been long-standing in the Liberty community, but I look forward to a new chapter of prosperity and growth for the students, the staff, and the community as we step forward. So thank you. Go Lancers.
That's all I got. Thank you.
All right, as we do now, we are going to vote on these in the consent agenda after our break, and you all will have a little break right now. Like I said before, I'm quite optimistic that it will be a thumbs up for you all. So right now we're going to take only a 5-minute break, but so we can congratulate our new administrator. So we will take a 5-minute break. Thank you.
Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2. Test 1 2 3. Hey Matt, can you hear an echo right now for me? I'm not next to the machine. I'm next to the podium mic. I want to see an echo. Test 1 2 3 4 5.
Mark, there's a big echo.
Test 1 2 3 4 5. Test, test, test. Do you hear an echo now? Test, 1, 2, 1, 2, test, 1, 2.
Can you test the podium mic by chance too?
What do you got? Still echo?
Shelley, Shelley.
Yeah, Matt says he still hears the echo, so.
Oh. Testing. Okay. All right. Ms. Cortez, how many people do we have signed up to speak to the board this evening?
This evening, we have 19 people.
Okay. We have already given the ground rules, so without further ado, Ms. Cortez.
Our first speaker is Jackie. Thank you, Maestas. Thank you, Jackie. I'm sorry.
Okay, I know that this issue is not as critical as some of the other things that will be brought to you tonight, but it's vital to my family. Our family moved to Colorado Springs 4 years ago, and at that time, we rented a house in District 20. Since then, we have moved out of the district. All three of our boys have remained in District 20 in both elementary and middle schools. When applying to Liberty High School, we were informed that the oldest boy was being denied the opportunity to attend that school because he has an IEP. When I questioned the legality of that, the reason changed to, well, we just don't have teaching staff to accommodate him. When I contacted Shannon with the district, she was abrupt and rude and told me that my only recourse was to pack up and move into the district. We were not offered any other options like being put on the waiting list for later openings. I've researched everything I could find regarding choosing into an out-of-district school. I've been to the special ed meetings where I learned from officers that the decision I needed to follow I needed to follow up with the school principal since it was their decision. Next, I talked to the vice principal at Liberty and the principal at Pine Creek. Both assured me that it was not their decision, but I needed to talk to the registration office. No one seems to know exactly who I need to talk to present our position. Our boys have been in the District 20 for 4 years, and 2 of them moved from elementary to middle school without any problems. At the recommendation of the vice principal and the reading teacher at Chinook Middle School, the boy in question began a 2-year program called Take Flight this past semester. If he is not allowed to continue in District 20, he will not be able to complete the program. I have a lot of other reasons that I think should possibly be taken into consideration. I just need to know who to talk to because it's a shame that no matter who I ask, I get a different answer.
Oh, there we go. Next is Catherine Zukas.
I'm Catherine Chukas. I live in the district. I'm a parent of children who attend district schools. My animal update from my side of town is about domesticated animals this time and cats. There's lots of cats who are getting lost. My children are not yet in high school, and so we had a lot of our end of school activities last week. And at least for parents of kids in middle and elementary schools, this end of school joy was also marked with sadness. There's a lot of sadness around the mass shooting inside a school in Texas. But it's really not just about mass shootings at schools, because then there was a mass shooting that happened at an outdoor graduation ceremony and then at a medical facility. And earlier in the month, they happened at churches and grocery stores. So there's lots of sadness and turmoil started by men who were in pain. And there are many, many solutions being proposed to stop men who are in pain towards acting out. What I'd like this school board of Academy District 20 to do is pause. That's right, I said pause. Pause before you write any new policies related to safety and security. Pause before asking the administration to take new actions. I recommend board members get a thorough briefing from the administration and school security on these topics. They can be in a private session or public, it doesn't matter to me. But I'd ask you to understand the steps that have already been taken and how our existing funds have been spent before asking to make any other changes. For most of us who have kids in elementary and middle schools in the district, the stance toward security and safety has been standard operating procedures for the entire time our children have been in the district. What goes on here in Academy District 20 is not the same as what goes on in the rest of the city, other cities, or in different states. I'd urge board members to understand the hundreds of thousands of dollars of bond funds that were used to remodel public school sites, understand procedures and IT systems, understand the SEL programs. If you personally haven't had the opportunity to be part of a surprise lockdown drill in an elementary school, ask for that to happen next semester when you happen to be visiting there for a different site reason. If you've never been to a reunification drill site, go do that. Be a part of it. Once you've experienced that, then determine what the new safety policies would be, and then get parents' input from children who are actually in the public schools about any changes, and also get the staff involved. Thank you.
There we go. Next is Steve Carey. No Steve Carey. So next is Larry Roa.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Feel like I'm doing a TV commercial. Okay, I had 3 different speeches I was going to give tonight, but I decided to talk to a different subject after I've heard other people. Okay, first of all, when we elected board members, we elected you to be you. I don't want you to change your attitudes or your thought processes or anything else. While you're sitting in the chair here, you are board members. When you depart this area, you go up there and you can return to having your own thoughts and expressing yourself wherever you go. As long as you're not representing yourself as a board member. We have diverse people on this board, such as Ms. Cloninger here or Mr. Salt. And that's what makes boards great, is you can go up there and have different opinions. So this thing I saw on the paper and that about, you can't speak this and that. For some reason, we have this weird idea that we have freedom from religion. The Constitution says we have freedom of religion. In other words, we can't have a state-sponsored religion like they had in England under the kings, where you had to go to their church. In this country, you can pick any church or not pick a church that you want to. But that doesn't mean you have freedom from religion. Just as the people who don't believe in God, that is its religion unto itself. So I ask you to keep this in your mind. Now, a couple books I read, other subject I was going to be on that I would suggest, and I mean, these are oldies. I went up there and read George Orwell's Animal Farm. That would be I don't know if they have it in the schools still. I'm older than dirt, but if you still got it there, that's a great introduction into a lot of different thinking. Another book that I read was 1984, which works with what's going on right now more than you would believe on thought processes.
Next is Jennifer Mattis.
Aaron, I respectfully requested 3 times that you not attend the Hold the Line event. You chose to violate Board Governance Policy 4.10, Sections 1A and Section 4. You want to create ludicrous rules for our teachers and staff, yet you consider yourself above the rules when it comes to established board policies. You said that those that speak at this podium are hurting. Have you made the connection that they are hurting because of your actions and your words? You shook the hands of hundreds of graduating seniors and went to this event and mocked them and their families. You complain that it hurts to have your character attacked, yet you soaked up tears after you mocked families that practice other religions. You told the crowd you would bring back the medical policy. You completely dismissed every D20 nurse and told you why this is a terrible policy. You continue to completely ignore your constituents because of your self-righteousness. Mr. Lavallee, as president of the board, why didn't you prevent Aaron from attending? One of your duties is to address inappropriate conduct of other board members. Along the same lines, at the last 2 meetings, prayers were spoken from 2 religious groups. Ms. Cloninger respectfully asked them to refrain in the future. As the president, you should have been the one to shut this down. I do have an idea. Since Aaron and Mr. Lavallee are closely tied with New Summit and TCA, could you please establish the medical policy at these charter schools for the next 3 years of your terms and leave the rest of D20 out of it? Then those parents that want to be called every time their child has a stomachache or needs a Band-Aid, those parents get choice in and everyone gets what they want. Aaron, when you begin your re-election campaign, I want you to present the facts and statistics of how these schools benefited from your medical policy. I want to hear from all the nurses and all the front office staff what their experiences were, how many calls were made, and what they were for. D20 parents and staff have a right to see proof before you implement this policy across the district. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Joseph Shelton.
Hi there, my name is Joseph Shelton. I live in the School District 11's area, but I am the Democratic nominee for the Colorado State Board of Education, sitting over Congressional District 5, to which your district lies. Today I'm here because not only speaking about inside this district, but many districts across here, the fact that people are coming forward and calling on GSAs and LGBT groups, or so some parents like to call it, that group that's trying to make my kid gay, calling and saying that they need to shut these groups down and that you as the board should act and close these groups down. Most of it, I hope that you guys already know most of this information, and this will be an education to those who don't know this information. But in 2003, William J. Palmer High School took Colorado Springs School District 11 to the United States District Court because School District 11 was not allowing them to have a GSA club. Came out to the ruling that School District 11 came to the settlement that they would allow the club as long as all non-academic clubs or other non-academic clubs are in place. So if you plan on, if anybody wants to take away GSA clubs or LGBT clubs or those clubs that support LGBT students, let's plan on taking away those Christian groups. Let's take away the Magic clubs. Let's take away all the other non-academic clubs that support our students in the future that they wish to attain. If it's non-academic, it wouldn't be allowed in schools if you're not allowing a GSA. And so, as I said, I hope that you guys as board members already know that information. That's mostly going out to people who continue to say that this needs to happen. And if you have any questions, I'd love to talk further about that.
Next is William Swavel.
Good evening, ASC 20 board. My name is Dr. William Sawville, and I'm here today to guarantee the following comments and concerns presented to the board regarding controversial subjects being introduced in ASD 20 schools. I have two daughters currently attending ASD 20 schools and have reached out several times to individual teachers, principals, board members, as well as the board in entirety regarding alarming trends at least one of my daughters has been exposed to during the last couple of years. In this year alone, my eldest daughter has experienced and I've witnessed bullying extremely concerning issues. Bullying by peers for refusing to be pressured into publicly swearing her allegiance to the LGBTQ community. Her phone number was shared to unknown persons after which she received nonstop harassing messages. Teachers expected to participate in DEI SEL events where they were encouraged to introduce themselves to others with their preferred pronouns and consider scenarios that inflate racial divides. Class was given by her social studies teachers that claim Christians, Muslims, and Jews all worship the same God. Books that I discovered in the school library that promote controversial subjects to include encouraging active and violent protesting and accepting one's whiteness. And then the last thing, just recently I provided all of you screenshots of documents my daughter and other students were required to fill out during science class that purported to practice objective research of controversial topics, including police officers targeting the black community during late night vehicle stops, the racism behind voter ID laws, and minorities not being comfortable with doctors who are not of the same skin color, except that the cited sources were methodically selected. As I mentioned in my last email to the board, I am concerned with what I'm only perceived as overconfident disregard and expectations that this will simply go away. I can promise you the resignation mindset is not my DNA. I ask this board to do what is right and investigate these concerns, not just at my daughter's school, but across ASD 20 within the district. I appreciate your time.
Oh my gosh. Next is Jackie Lesh.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say first off, it is not my place as an educator, a parent, or a community member to tell you who you are. It is just my job to support you so you can become the person you are meant to be. Happy Pride Month. I'm here tonight to talk about Initiative 63. Teachers, we see you, we appreciate you, and help is on the way. Initiative 63 is a bill we're trying to get on the ballot for this November. The initiative would direct the state legislative to allocate 1/3 of the 1% of the taxable income that you already pay, so no new taxes, And instead of putting that money in the Tabor surplus, it forces it to go to the Education State Fund permanently. The estimated over $800 million would be removed from that calculation of the Tabor spending limit, and this does not affect any current rebates or surplus checks you will be getting from Tabor this year. This starts January 1st, 2023. And those funds will be directed to the Education Fund, and they will be specifically for teacher salaries, bus drivers, paraprofessionals, education support. Teachers, we know you need the help. In Colorado, the cost of living continues to go up, along with the housing and everything, and teachers' salaries never have. So this would really help support our teachers. We have military spouses that come from other states, and they make up to $20,000 less when they come here to teach, and they do the same job somewhere else. In Colorado, we are the 50th in teacher wage competitiveness. The 49th in the number of novice teachers in the classroom. We don't have anyone who wants to go into education anymore because no one can afford to be an educator in Colorado and raise their families here. So please, if you hear of Initiative 63 this summer, we are collecting signatures and look for it on the ballot this November so we can support our educators. Thanks.
Next is Susan Staver.
Good evening. Aren't we lucky? We live in a free country where people are free to believe what they choose and free to express their opinions. The First Amendment to our Constitution says, quote, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances, unquote. All of us, including volunteer school board members, have these rights. People who disagree also have a right to their own beliefs. They have a right to disagree, but they do not have a right to take away our free speech. Some people, instead of talking about issues, try to silence opposing points of view, but they will not shut us down. We will not self-censor because some people disagree. This is a country of diverse beliefs and opinions. School board members, thank you for serving our community. You do not give up your rights of freedom of speech or freedom of religion because you serve on this board voluntarily. The Constitution and Bill of Rights affirms all of us these freedoms. This is not China. I am sorry for the attacks some of you have received. I just want to encourage you to stand strong and continue your good work. Thank you.
Next is Brian Moody.
Larry and Susan have captured my thoughts actually very effectively. I really appreciate their thoughts. Unfortunately, some things have become controversial that I am suspect of the motives of how these things are becoming controversial. This has nothing to do with District 20, Aaron going to a Christian event, and it really is not something that even belongs as part of the public discussion. And I am just here to show my support for Aaron, and I support his right to speak up at a Christian event and to express his faith. I think that we have to have Christian faith in as part of the discussion, and I think it belongs here. And in District 20, we don't have to promote faith, but it also is a part of our lives, and it's just who we are. And so I think it's a distraction when we're talking about this, unfortunately, and I don't think it belongs actually even as part of a board meeting discussion. It's not the topic that I would prefer to even be talking about tonight. I would prefer to be talking about how to create better academic excellence, how to create a better culture, how to achieve the potential that District 20 has. That's to me the purpose of this board meeting. It's not to talk about controversial things that really don't belong here and actually aren't controversial. So I'm here to express my support of Aaron, of the board. I appreciate everything you guys do. It's a sacrifice you guys make, and it's unappreciated. And I'm just grateful that you guys are willing to do it. Thank you. Thank you.
Next is Rob Rogers.
October 7th of 2021, I stood here and asked how self-proclaimed conservative school board members could represent me and my family. Later on that night, another speaker said that was a ridiculous claim. 7 days later, at a candidate forum, Ms. Khan said simply because someone is on one side or the other of the political aisle, which we all are, does not mean we don't care about other people. It's extremely presumptuous and incorrect to claim to say that conservatives don't speak for all children. So 7 months ago, I expressed a genuine concern and was reassured, if not ridiculed, that my concern was unfounded. Fast forward to May 20th of this year, we find Aaron Salt attending a Christian national event being advertised as appearing in his official capacity. Steve Holt, pastor of Rhodes Church, where the event was held, asked Mr. Salt several questions from the perspective of a sitting school board member. After Mr. Salt finished denigrating an ASD 20 parent, specifically because she was a member of a non-Christian religion, Pastor Holt asked this question: how can we pray for you guys? How can we support you? Mr. Salt replied, so for me and the folks that are on my board, and I see several of my colleagues from other districts are here, one of the biggest things you can do praying for us is, number one, this is a spiritual battle. So make sure you're covering us in prayers. We can win to fight for you and for your children. Number two, pray that we can maintain our Christian biblical worldview and that we're able to be firm and true to those values. So by an ASD 20 board member's own words, Academy District 20 is now in spiritual battle with parents. And for some reason, it's believed that Christian and biblical worldviews have something to do with governing a public school system. So tell me more about how I'm being ridiculous and presumptuous. And to quote that public 7 months ago, bring it. And get familiar with Title 4.
Next is Aaron Stevens.
My name is Erin Stevens, and I am an ASD 20 board director. Oh, wait, I'm not. But when I said that, I bet you had some sort of reaction. I filed an official grievance to the board after Mr. Salt spoke at the Hold the Line event. I explained how he was asked not to appear in his official capacity. As a community member, sure, no problem with that at all. The thing is, why would he be asked to speak as just himself? That would be strange. For the event to matter, they needed speakers with titles. His director, ASD 20 Board of Education. It was printed on materials, plastered online, and referenced at the event. Unless I'm mistaken, this makes him a speaker who is speaking on behalf of the board. Mr. LaValle told me that Mr. Salt was speaking in his capacity as an individual, but we all know that that's not true. It's the reason I can't get up here and say that I represent the PTA, of which I am president. I don't speak in my official capacity as that role. I speak for myself. Mr. Salt denigrated the D20 parent for her religious beliefs, calling them cute and saying, quote, they think they have any authority or power here. Why does your religion and this so-called spiritual battle you are fighting have any power here? I never asked to be saved by your beliefs or have them instituted into public education. I am in touch with the Colorado Department of Education since it's clear that Mr. LaValle refuses to be reasonable in this situation, and Mr. Salt will continue to represent and embarrass our district in the name of his spiritual battle. As a representative of the District 20 board, not as himself. That is fine. It seems you are unable to help yourself, so I'll let state and legal authorities help. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Shane Sullivan.
Good evening. I'm Shane Sullivan, a current parent, and I present the following on behalf of a fellow parent. The D20 board set forth a strategic plan for the 2022 school year. It states under values, we people are our success. We aspire to practice meaningful inclusion, honor diversity, develop a culture of belonging throughout our school community. I assert these values have very little meaning when we tell members attending religious events official capacity to share misinformation as to why a poorly written medical policy was tabled to declare religious dominance in public school environments. These events are being led by local churches known to call teachers Marxists and to encourage parents to pull their children from public education. A month ago, a speaker who lives in Monument and has no children, he stood at this podium and recited the Lord's Prayer. A verified D20 parent then came to a subsequent meeting to educate the board on other perspectives. Mr. Salt, you shared the religious event that her speech was cute because she thought she had any authority. This is public defamation of a D20 parent. You then proceeded to declare that there's a spiritual war being fought in D20. When this was brought to the board's attention, Valley stated that Mr. Salt was not there in official capacity, despite all evidence to the contrary. We have extraordinary concerns being shared at these meetings. From the special education community, teachers, and parents, rather than focus on the challenge of education and learning environments, continue to use your D20 board director platform to inject religious political narratives. Please leave your religious beliefs and perspective out of D20 business as required by the U.S. Constitution.
Next, we have Saffron Stevens.
Hello. My name is Saffron Stevens, and I am a student at Pine Creek High School. I'm involved in a lot of activities at school. One club that I am in is forensics. Specifically, I do debate. This has taught me many things, a few of which being how to research and form my own opinions on a variety of topics, how to represent ideas I don't agree with, and how to listen to others and take their perspective into account. I certainly have my own opinion on what this board is doing, and I certainly don't agree with certain members trying to make their beliefs the only beliefs when they are supposed to be representing all of the people in this district. You have your students in your schools. You have students who aren't Christian in your schools. You have members of minority communities in your schools. So representing only those who look and believe like you is disingenuous. I am in school seeing the people you are hurting firsthand. They are my friends, and it seems the majority of people don't agree with you. As a student, I've learned what happens historically when only one prevailing belief is allowed, and my Jewish ancestors were silenced and killed as a result. You are supposed to represent all students. So why don't you let us learn? Because that is what we are in school to do. You all are tasked with deciding how to support our district, not shape our beliefs. Thank you.
Next is Edward Waldrop.
Hi, my name is Eddie Waldrop. Excuse me. I'm a parent of a District 20 student. My comments here are my own institutions. First, I just want to focus a little bit on academic excellence. Some of the things I wanted to kind of mention. Some models we take from charter schools throughout the country. There's been a lot of research that's been done about what are the things that contribute to academic excellence. Dr. Roland Fryer, professor at Harvard, an economist, has done quite a bit of research in this area. They boiled it down to like 5 different really good predictors about outcomes. I know that being a district school, being a public school, is not the same thing as a charter school, but I think there's a lot of important lessons we can learn from this. I also still have my some of the more divisive elements that are here. I've heard from other speakers tonight about concerns about some of the more pernicious elements of DEI and how those get kind of schools, elements of critical race theory. I don't think that educators are Marxists necessarily, but I do have concerns about a lot of the Marxist ideology that's being kind of implemented and infused in our education program. I think that there's probably ways to hopefully be able to more clearly identify what some of these things are, to see where they're showed up in class, things from critical pedagogy. Paulo Freire is a big person that gets sought on in schools. So if there's any way we could try to maybe have a little bit of scrutiny of some of these programs, things we've identified, maybe help teachers be able to recognize that these things are being put into their schools, be able to remove those, or at least reduce those elements associated with it. I'd be more than happy to contribute to that in any way. But overall, I just want to get support to the board. You guys are doing a great job still. I think there's a lot of work to be done. I see a lot of committed effort to it. I know a lot of personal attacks seem to come, but hopefully stay strong and we're going to support this learning process.
Next is Claudia Graver.
Hi, board. My name is Claudia Graver. I have two students in D20. We are in a spiritual battle today. We are standing up for our children and this country. How do we get to a point in America where some are offended at spiritual and virtuous? How do we get to the point in America where there's pushback to the pledge due to the words one nation under God? This is a spiritual battle. This country is a nation founded on Judeo-Christian values. It is the reason that we have the freedoms that we have, and the reason that those who benefit from it decry it and tear it down. Do you not realize that once you tear it down, there will be nothing left for you to protest anymore? That freedom will be gone for you and your children. Your truth will be whatever the state wants it to be. What does separation of church and state really mean? It means that the government would not establish a national religion or dictate to men how to worship God. It was to protect freedom of religion, worldview, and personal beliefs. It was to remove all fear that the state would make dictates to the church. It was not to eradicate God from the public forum or to persecute politicians' personal beliefs. The rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of God. JFK said that. Our children need to know our true history, our Christian nation's history, or all will be lost. Thank you, board.
Next is Camden Sharkey.
My name is Camden Sharkey, and I am proud to say that I organized and led the walkout to support our teachers at Liberty High School when Mr. Gregory came in early March. Because even the students at Liberty understand the value of a good teacher. Videos from these meetings are public, and I often find them on my TikTok For You page. I've gotten to hear teachers pleas from across the district, some that I used to see every day. I listened to a teacher whom I hold in the highest respect ask to not be taken advantage of. They teared up telling stories of their child, asking if they would be able to play or if they have great papers again. School is a safe place for many kids. School may just be another stop in the road for some, but these teachers stick to the right thing to do. They put up with hurtful rhetoric from elected officials, conspiracy theories about indoctrination, and they still teach us in classrooms the power of our words. So we do not repeat the same mistakes of those elected to represent everyone, the will of everyone, and end up serving their own self-interest. You may wonder, if I'm leaving, why do I care? I'm leaving behind friends, a little brother, every student who I have passed by in the halls, and teachers who are not as lucky as I am to make it out. The ideas discussed here are not unique to our district, from the content in books to adding a class to our teacher schedules and the extreme crisis in hiring and maintaining amazing teachers. Right now, we're building back our schools and the systems within after they were gutted from the highs they were once at in 2020. We could start by creating more mental health help and resources for our teachers, maintaining frequent raises and competitive pay to make working in ASU 20 the amazing place that it could be. I want you to know that right now, my diploma that I just got means a lot because I chose to come to D20. I chose in because of the amazing programs and the people I could learn from. And now I wonder if my diploma might mean supporting practices that not only hurt the educators, but every student along the way as well. If student interests are really at the core of all of your initiatives, then why are we not building up our teachers to build up our kids? Why not invest in our teachers today? Because that is what they need more than anything else, more than health initiatives or anything.
Next we have Jody Fletcher.
Good evening. Once again, I'm here to speak about the climate and culture issues that continue to prevail at Liberty High School. This is not a teacher issue. This is an admin issue. My then sophomore walked into his algebra class ready to learn on December the 9th. He happened to have red eyes, an issue for which he is medically prescribed eye drops and allergy meds. Instead of being left alone and allowed to learn, he was accused of being high in front of all of his peers. To this day, he is still mocked by his peers for that moment. His algebra teacher doubled down, then emailed me her concerns about him having red eyes and insisted that he was high, even though our protests about his medical condition and assertions were that he was a good kid who does not do drugs. After this humiliating incident, all we asked for was an apology from the algebra teacher and the administration. An apology. Simple, right? Instead, Mr. Timig refused to respond to any communication with our family, and Ms. Thiessen refused to admit the algebra teacher's behavior was wrong in any way. Again, another authority doubled down on their assertion that we were wrong about the situation and did not know our own child. Even after meeting with Dr. Smith and Mr. Salt regarding these accusations, failed to elicit any sort of apology that we wanted. A simple acknowledgement that a harm occurred without fault. Liberty High School could not even give us that. District 20, you failed my child. He is a universally known and popular kid at his high school. He is kind. He is quiet. How hard would it have been for an adult to reach out and say, I'm sorry to this well-mannered, kind kid? You should be ashamed as an administration and a board for not ensuring this young man's harm was not appropriately acknowledged. He deserved better. Staff morale, staff turnover at Liberty High School is absolutely ludicrous this year. You can't treat people poorly and expect them to stay and be happy that they have the privilege of working in D20. With Mr. Sisson, a new principal coming on board, I want to know what resources this district is going to give him to help the heavy lift of rebuilding a toxic school climate. I've had students at Liberty since 2005 and nothing.
Our final speaker for the evening is Emily Vaughn.
My name is Emily, and I am a parent in D20. A fact can be defined as an indisputable observation. It can be proven to be true through objective evidence, such as audio or video recordings. Mr. Salt attended a Christian revivalist event where he was introduced exclusively as a D20 school board member. His companies, Sonari and Theory 12, were never mentioned. During the panel event, he specifically discussed D20 policies and referred to the D20 board as "we," with no exclusion to the term. There was no confusion. 5 hours of recordings were obtained by parents who geared up in MAGA gear to blend into the mediocre crowd of patriot Christians. Those recordings aligned with media coverage with both the Colorado Times Recorder and KRDO. We as a district will never escape a divisive environment when board members are attending religious events, proclaiming the existence of a spiritual battlefield and public education to defend biblical worldviews. The unprecedented trauma of the past 2 years has rolled off the backs of the parents onto the shoulders of our children, and this year it landed into the laps of our teachers. The experiences are real for many in D20, regardless of their political or religious affiliation. And rather than acknowledging these burdens and sharing solutions, Mr. Salt declared D20 as a battleground for cultural warfare in front of a group of tax-paying guardians. When we can no longer retain teachers because they fear retaliation or they feel that they no longer belong, those consequences will be the stains left behind by those board members who perpetrated these new cultural norms. Trust is not built by creating moral panics. Depolarization cannot begin until board members stop sowing fear into the minds of those that have not entered a school in the past 2 years. Dismissing media and parents to protect your own will only disintegrate the integrity of those before you who work so hard
Time's
to
up.
build.
Thank you.
Hard to build.
That concludes our speakers for this evening.
Thank you. Board comments. Ms. Cloninger, can you hear us? Ms. Cloninger, can you hear us?
I had to get to the right spot.
Okay, we can hear you. Go ahead. You got the floor.
Am I echoing?
Nope, you're loud and clear. Hear you great.
Perfect. Well, I wanted to be there. I had some family stuff that has kept me away, and I'm sad to not see your faces. But I did not forget to bring my slides. So if you could put those up there, that'd be great. I'll go through them pretty fast. And I don't know. Oh, yes, good. Okay, so I just wanted to say we had an extremely fun time with all of our graduations. It was very hot in the stadium at Clune Arena, so wear layers if you have kiddos graduating next year. This picture is of Danny Cho and Braxton Dietz from Pine Creek High School, and you can go to the next one. Trevor Tong and Carter Gonzalez are these two. I only took pictures of these guys, and I'm only bringing it up just to say how many activities we did in the week. So you can kind of go through these kind of fast. The next picture I had is of the counselor named Ned. He was gracious enough to get in the pool and let these kiddos. He's good at harassing the kids. They had fun trying to get him in the water, which they did several times. This is a picture of a gal that I know, but the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the man here in the picture with us is the father of one of the kids that was in my picture a week or so, the last board meeting. She was Georgia O'Keeffe at the Pioneer Museum at the Chautauqua event that Eagleview had. Well, her dad is the president of Pikes Peak Philharmonic, and I had gone with a friend to see the Aretha Queen of Soul performance, and it was fantastic. But the thing that made me smile is that just the connections that we make and how they bring us to, all over town. And the next one is our good friend Mark, Mark Saklidi. And I had no idea that he had this other gig. And so if you ever go down to Pikes Peak, you can look for this guy. It was really fun. And then the next one is all of us at board graduations. We had, like I said, a lot of hours together in Clune Arena. Next. The second day was Mr. Gregory's birthday, so we snuck in a little birthday song from some of the kiddos that were sitting there waiting for their class to graduate. Next. And then the last couple of things that I did was I went to Encompass Heights. This is Mr. Matt Pace. He's the one pulling out in front, racing these first graders or something on tricycles. It was a very windy day. And so then also I went up to Doug Valley. Everybody had to shift inside. So they had to do their parachute in the art room. Next. And they had these two parents here that did Zumba and yoga on the ramp, and it was a lot of fun. They had a lot of fun there. And the last one was, if you haven't been or didn't have your child chosen to be out in or picked to be out in School in the Woods, their final graduation is one of a kind, and it was so sweet, and I was able to go there. And the next picture is this, of course, before that was John. Anyway, it was John and Worth, sorry. And then this is Carol and her husband, John Stansfield, and they were the creators, the co-creators of School in the Woods. So it was a lovely, lovely event. And it was really fun to be a part of all of those. And that's all of my pictures for today. I wanted to just mention a couple of things. I was very grateful for all of those of you that came to speak. And I wanted to just mention that as a Christian woman, I'm very comfortable with my church membership, and I can support my religion. But yet, as I sit at this dais, I and the other 4 of us were elected to talk about education, and that's what we all claim to be here for. And to our youth speakers, Mr. Sharkey and Ms. Stevens, as long as I'm on this board, your education will be my greatest priority. I had another quote from John F. Kennedy. I realized somebody else quoted him. This one says, not everyone has equal abilities, but everyone should have equal opportunity for education. And that is how I feel. And I'm so grateful to be a part of this board. Thank you.
Mr. Tempe. Mr. Tempe.
Thanks for everyone who came tonight. We appreciate all the public comment. Thoroughly enjoyed the graduations at my colleagues and I attended last week. Or 2 weeks ago. And then last week I attended TCA Pathways, TCA High School graduation, which were both great. But it's the best time of year. That's why we're here. To see these kids achieve, matriculate on to whatever we're going to do next. And I just enjoy this time immensely. I do want to give public to Becky Allen and her team for the work they've done on next year's budget. We realize salaries and wages were and will continue to be a priority for us. But there were departmental and programmatic sacrifices made this year to make this budget work. So I want to thank the cabinet for understanding the priorities, which they always do. But it's 50 pounds of 10-pound bag. Surprisingly, it's a big number. But the overwhelming majority of our budget is taken up by salaries and wages. And right now there needs to be inflection put on anything right now. It's retaining excellent educators. So these outcomes on graduation day are what we all hope for as parents. So, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tempe. Wisconsin, I'll do a mic check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Mr. LaValle, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Ms. Conz, I can't really hear you. Try it again.
Okay, Mr. LaValle, can you hear me?
You're loud and clear now. You got the floor.
Oh, yeah. Okay, wonderful. So first of all, thank you to our tech team at D20 for and all of the online and in-person viewers for bearing with all these tech difficulties today. So thank you, everybody. And I'm grateful for all of our speakers, as always, to just give us insight into what we need to hear for our district. And grateful for all of you being there in person, because my daughter, who just graduated from Rampart, wanted to attend a conference and none of her friends could go with her. So when I offered to go with her, before realizing it was over a board meeting, and my daughter said 1000% yes, she wanted to, I had to go. So thank you all for bearing with me being online. As we all know, it was a very busy and fulfilling month celebrating all of our D20 graduates. Whether they graduated the top of their class or thankfully just graduated, as some parents said, I am in awe of every one of them for all they've accomplished. I love the unique culture of every school and the amazing work they've done and the flavor they give to our district and community. And not only for those graduating seniors, I commend all of our kindergarten through 12th grade students for their perseverance, hard work ethic, and commitment to excellence this year. So way to go, D20 students. I did want to bring up something I noticed very specific in all the graduation speeches. Students were so grateful to be seen and heard by their teachers, and thank you, teachers, for doing so. But I didn't hear any commencement speech mentioning teachers challenging their students. The students experienced empathy, but didn't acknowledge feeling their minds opened. I simply want to point that out. I believe it's self-evident that many empathetic and intelligent people seek careers in education precisely because they have these wonderful traits that serve others so well. And I'm so grateful to teachers in every age for instilling positive character traits in our students. But when students don't mention their excellent academics and opportunities from their education, I feel we have work to do, and that's why all of us are here. So let's all jump on this D20 train together and set and uphold a standard of academic excellence above all, as this is our charge and our mission. Thanks, Mr. LaValle.
Thank you, Ms. Cons. Mr. Salt.
Thank you. As my colleagues have said, graduations were a big part of our last couple of weeks. It was probably the best thing, other than sitting in kindergarten classrooms, that I have done during my time on the board. I think it was Mr. Timby who said, you know, graduations, this is why we're here. This is our students achieving that. That is us sending them out with their diploma onto doing whatever they're going to do next. And some of the smaller high schools we had actually went through and talked about what each of the students were going to do, and we have a wide range of opportunities for those students where they're headed after graduation. So it was really fun to hear what their plans were between the military, trade schools, college. One kid actually was like, yeah, I'm going to go spend a year backpacking and hiking through Europe. And I'm like, more power to you. So when I say we have a wide range of, we have everything under the sun. We have students going off to do, and I think that's really exciting and really speaks to, you know, the culture that we build through high school. So I think that's fantastic. One of the things I thought was really interesting, I was speaking to a DCC parent yesterday who had a graduate, and you know, all of our five comprehensive high schools all kind of have the same you know, building materials, if you will, for their graduations. But what was interesting to me was how different each of them were. And not just what the way that the ceremonies were done and how students were celebrated, but even just the parents and the culture within the arena, which is very interesting how different that was, because you had DCC where the parents were almost threatened to be quiet. And then you had, you know, Rampart, who had, I think everybody came in with 3 air horns, and it was just everything in between. So it was just a lot of fun. But one of the other things that I got to do, and actually got to hang out with several of our administrators and EAC staff. We had an Educator of the Year that was celebrated at Timberview, and provided them a $6,500 check as being awarded with a Teacher of the Year. And so I was able to go with, oh man, Mr. Smith was there, Mary was there, Tanner was there, a few others, and I totally blanked on who it was. But we were there for their final awards ceremony or assembly as for the 8th graders. That was when the teacher was recognized. And they did something really cool right after that, is they brought all of the 8th graders down to the final assembly for Liberty and brought them in as the next class. And that was really cool getting to watch that transition and how excited all of the Liberty students were, because we made it there right before all the Liberty seniors left, making room for the next class to come in, and watching how excited and rambunctious the 8th graders were at Timberview, and then watching how mild-mannered they were when they walked in this big giant auditorium. It was a lot of fun to see, but the Liberty students just cheered and cheered for them coming in, and so it was a lot of fun being part of that excitement for them. So I thought it was a really cool experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salt. I've just got to say, how can I begin my comments without offering my condolences to those who lost precious children in a senseless school shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. I struggle to understand the evil in a man's heart that would lead him to commit such an unspeakable violence. Graduations, they were great. We went to 7 graduations in 3 days. It was at once exhausting and exhilarating. It's one of those things you think, oh my goodness, how are we going to do this, pass out close to 2,000 diplomas? It was great. You do it and you just go, man, this is so much fun. And I just congratulate all the graduates. And I agree with the previous comments. It's fascinating to see the different school cultures and sizes. Some of the schools are considerably bigger, and the auditorium is more full than it was just it was really good. And I just want to say, may the knowledge, skills, and character you learned in our great district carry you to a bright future. I want to publicly thank Air Academy Federal Credit Union for sponsoring 3 separate breakfasts, honoring and feeding bus drivers and other classified staff. It was a great way to honor all those great employees in our district who rarely get the recognition they deserve. I was able to help serve for 2 of those. And I think all the board members were there for 1 or 2, and I know Mr. Gregory was there, and it was just, it was a great thing. I was able to see a demonstration at Discovery Canyon High School. Mr. Gregory came up to me. He's like, "You got to see this thing at DCC. It's amazing. It's just," and I was kind of struggling with what he described. It is a computer autopsy machine. Is the only way to describe it. It's a flat top with 2 huge monitors that basically meld into one, and you turn it on, and they literally have cadavers. They were really dead people, and they took multiple pictures, and they did all these slices of their body, and you can actually see the nervous system, you can see the heart, you can see the lungs. Phenomenal. Of course, my first question is, when I heard about it, I said, well, will this improve academic outcomes, right? I don't care if it's a cool, shiny toy. If it doesn't help academic outcomes, I'm not interested. I think it will, especially for the visual learners. And I asked specifically, I said, okay, how many kids are going to be able to see this? Is this something that 10 kids at DCC are going to see? And the answer I got was, they estimate 250 to 275 students per year will be able to use this. They named 6 different anatomy and biology classes who will benefit. So I was very glad to hear that. They plan on using it a lot. There's a lot of different classes that can use it. And my second question was, how much did it cost, and who had to pay for it? I'll say yes, it was tax dollars, but it wasn't out of district funds. It was a grant that DCC was able to get. So I'm really excited about that. I'm not a Luddite, but I'm also real careful about technology. But things like that, especially for the visual learners, I think they can learn a lot, and I really think that can help academic outcomes and student learning. So, and I'm also, we're not supposed to tell Dan Olson about it. So just FYI, don't say anything to Dan Olson, principal of your academy. Okay. On Tuesday, I attended, just 2 days ago, I attended an event called A New Compact for Civic Education, put on by the Bill of Rights Institute. There was a great panel discussion regarding this important topic, and I just thought it was quite interesting. Based on feedback from the last board meeting, the new cameras are working well during our meetings. So that was great to hear. I remember I said, hey, if you have comments, reply. And I think, Mary, you were there, Mode, and everything I heard was really positive. With one exception, the closed captioning did not work. We apologize for that. However, I looked at it. If you look at the video from the last meeting, you can click on closed captioning and it's there. The hope is the closed captioning will be live going forward. I think everything's working now. My fear is perhaps at the beginning of this meeting, things may not have been working as well. But I think we've got a good system set up. I think there's a camera on the board members as well. It's just all of us. So I think that's a good thing. And I want to thank the IT team for doing all that. That's all I have. Administration comments, Mr. Gregory.
Yes, thank you. And I did, just to be clear, I didn't consider that a toy. It was just a really cool. I've never seen anything like it. Because not many of them exist right now. I think it's one of very few in Colorado that high school kids have access to. Few comments. First, Benjamin Townsend at 2022 Liberty High School graduate, named KOAA's Athlete of the Week. Just days before accepting his diploma, Cross Country Star announced that he is professional. Ben has accepted sponsorships from the Ultra Running Company who will fund his running journey this summer. And when he's done this summer, we'll head off to Northern Arizona University in the fall. Congratulations to, Taylor Delaney, another KOAA Athlete of the Week. Early May, Taylor, a Rampart graduate, was featured because of his unusual high school journey. Though he attended Rampart, during the winter, Taylor completed his studies while living in the mountains in Colorado, because he is a trained elite ski racer. Despite the distance between the classroom and his training ground, Taylor managed to keep a 4.3 grade point average and also played on the school's baseball team. Obviously, those were not remote activities. He actually played on the baseball team. And just if you're curious, because my own sons would find this interesting, he was his fastest downhill run, I should say, was clocked at 73 miles per hour. Congratulations to Chloe Kemp from Pine Creek High School for being awarded one of 50 Becher Scholars of the state of Colorado. Chloe will attend CU Boulder in this fall and plans to study pre-med before turning her focus to pediatric surgery. Her passion to make a difference in the medical field comes from her own experience after she was born with Hirschsprung's disease and spent a lot of time in the hospital as a young lady. A group of sixth graders at Chinook Trail Middle School had the unique opportunity to present in front of the Colorado Springs utilities employees and students, turned an end-of-year math project into a scaled model of the water system between Mount Albert and Colorado Springs. The model included running water, pipeline, and water conservatories. The utilities representatives were amazed at what our students pulled off and how they used their math skill to create the detailed project. So congratulations to all of those students. And then lastly, I know we're beating a dead horse with this, but congratulations to the Academy District 20 class of 22 high school graduates. I won't repeat what's been said already, but those are absolutely the most special days of the school year. Everything is positive. The energy is incredible. I wish all the graduates much happiness and success in the future. And I also want to thank the United States Air Force Academy, because this is the first time in 3 years we were able to go back to the academy and have what I would call one of the District 20, kind of a traditional District 20 graduation at Clune Arena, which most importantly this year was indoors. Because if you think about that week, I was really happy. Maybe the happiest superintendent in Colorado when our graduations were Tuesday and Wednesday. No, Wednesday and Thursday. And on Friday, that snow happened. And I just felt really good. I read the newspaper and saw the news, and all those districts in Denver were scrambling to find a place to move their graduations to because they couldn't use Red Rocks for the outdoor facilities. So again, thanks to the United States Air Force Academy for allowing us back onto the base this year. It was really nice. Although this calendar it was a little warm. I'd take that in. And the last thing I would say is none of the board members mentioned this, but they all know Mike very well at this point because they have to listen to my graduation speech 7 times over. And it was about mine. So thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you. And Mr. Gary, you did not use and I forgive me. It's a great learning device. So that was a slip of the tongue on my part. Let me just say this: they're not going to take. We've already taken 2 breaks. If you are free to go at your leisure, and it's okay. You can leave any time. We're going to just proceed with the meeting. Consent agenda, we need a motion to approve the following resolutions. Resolution 206-22, approval of matters relating to administrative staff license. Resolution 207-22, approval of matters relating to administrative staff classified. Resolution 208-22, approval of matters relating to staff specialist staff. Resolution 209-22, approval of matters relating to licensed staff teachers. Resolution 10-22, approval of matters relating to licensed staff, licensed support, special services provider. This always drives people up. I don't know why. Resolution 211-22, approval of matters relating to classified staff. Resolution 212-21, approval of extra pay positions, assignments 2000-2022 school year. Resolution 213-23, primary textbooks for science grades 6 through 8, Rock Terman Elementary School, English Language Arts, grades K through 5, Air Academy High School, Language French, Discovery Canyon High School Mathematics, Rampart High School Mathematics. And approval of the Board of Education regular meeting minutes from May 12th.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cloninger.
Aye.
Mrs. Cloninger.
Aye. Can you hear me?
Let's press. We only need 3 to pass.
Okay.
So let's go ahead.
Mrs. Cons.
Aye.
Mr. LaValle.
Aye.
Mr. Salt. Mr. Temby.
Thank you. There are no items booked on the consent agenda, and next is item 12A, which we moved. Resolution 214-22, acceptance of District Accountability Committee, DAC, end of year report. May we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And before I pass this off to Ms. Khan, I want to personally thank Tiana Clark. You led this for 2 years, and I really appreciate you doing that. That is, I know it's a labor of love, and I know it's a lot of work. When I was looking over the meeting, there's so much that the DAC does. We really tap you all with a lot. And there's only 2 standing committees that this board has. One is DAC, and the other is audit. And you have led for the last 2 years, done a great job, DAC, and I really want to appreciate it. And I want to thank Shannon Hester, who's going to take those hard shoes to fill, but I'm sure you're going to do a great job. And I want to thank you for stepping up as well. Discussion, please, Ms. Cons.
I'd like to call Mrs. Tiana Clark, the DAC parent chair.
Good evening. I'm just gonna jump right in. I think you guys had a copy of it. Can you hear me? I'm a little short. Okay. Vertically challenged. So I'm just gonna go through the report. You guys should have a copy of it. A lot of this is in a link when you have the electronic copy. So we start the school year just going over the DAC charge on the committee, and this is always approved in the August meeting by the board, and just goes over the priorities. I'm not going to read all of them verbatim, but just really quick synopsis of the charge, the 11 charges. So the priorities for spending district school monies, preparation of a district performance improvement, priority improvement, or turnaround plan if needed. Charter school applications will form an accreditation subcommittee as well as a budget subcommittee. DAC will annually review the site plans and unified improvement plans at each school in the district, will provide input and recommendations on an advisory basis to principals concerning the development of use of assessment tools, consider input and recommendations from school accountability committees, which you may hear me refer to as SACs, and concerning principal evals. Also, input concerning the creation and enforcement of district's conduct and discipline code, increasing the level of diverse engagement in the school district, and using a collaborative input model. So that is the charge that we then follow to make sure that we are meeting all processes. The second section of the report is all the presentations and updates that we had over the course of our meetings. So these are broken down into 2 sections. The first one being the ones that align with the DAC charge. What is it that we're required to go through? And several of these we would hear multiple times over the course of the year, to include like the accreditation subcommittee, the budget subcommittee, in order to meet the charge given to us. The second section is going to be presentations that are outside of the charge. They may have been requested by members of DAC or just discretionary. And a few of these we also heard several times, such as the building fund updates and strategic plan updates. I just wanted to highlight a few that really surprised me with the depth and hearing how the district handles some of these. And the few that really stuck out for me, always learn something every month, but were actually the transportation update and hearing everything that goes into that. And I would say if there's ever going to be another committee form, transportation should be one of them. Safety updates and some of the changes that have been made this school year. For me, just hearing what goes into that And then also one that really stood out that I was surprised by was the school lunch process. And just what has gone into that this year to be able to cover and feed additional kids, thousands of additional kids with the free funding, and all while doing so with every school having at least one person understaffed. So that one was pretty good highlight. And then as well as just hearing different mental health updates, family resource centers, funding. I think Ms. Allen was at almost every meeting giving something budget related. The third section of the report is just identifying the meeting dates. We have a requirement for meeting a certain number of dates. We actually met in person every meeting, which I think we were all relieved by this year. The prior year was all virtual and it just, it was a lot. So this time we had 10 in-person meetings from August through May, and a virtual link was made available at each of those for those who could not attend. And it was also one of the first years we were not impacted by weather cancellation. February is notorious for having a DAC cancellation. One of the charges is to form a budget subcommittee, and you received a report on that from Ms. Hester in March. What we do is we get all what we call the feeder strands together, and this year we updated the process some. Dr. Fields invited the principals, and we heard straight from the principals, and that was a different process. It was a good process to be able to hear and ask direct questions instead of just reading everything. And we took all that information from all the different feeder strands, put it in the report that you heard in March. The subcommittee is not a requirement of being on deck, and there was 5 additional meetings that were attended. And the budget subcommittee is near and dear to my heart. I've been on it for each of my years serving in DAC. So that has been very interesting watching that grow over the years. Next section is going to be accreditation. Similar to the budget committee, this is a not a requirement to attend for DAC members. So the subcommittee formed, and sorry, I think I compiled 2 of the committees together. Both of the committees invited principals, and both got feedback from the principals this year. This is the normal process for budget committee, but this was new to accreditation this year. Forgive me for that. So we did hear from all the principals. They received questions in advance, in which we then were able to ask questions and write down feedback as to their site plans. And then going back to the budget section. So in that feeder system, we basically went through what are the needs of each school, and what are we seeing technology, teacher-wise, like ask different questions and then compile that. I apologize for combining those 2. And then in accreditation, we also do some additional tasks. We go over district improvement plans. We do the site plan and UIP review and provide feedback as needed. And this year we also had external reviews again. We were not able to have external reviews last year, but they came back this year, and each school will receive an external review every 3 years, and then gets feedback on those. In addition, a handbook review of the accreditation is also part of DEC. The next section, educator effectiveness, that is, we heard the presentation from Mr. Cameron Smart in March on the educator effectiveness plan. And then we heard from the district conduct and discipline code from Ms. Tanya Thompson, who gave us updates on that, and will be returning early fall next year to give us the final synopsis for this school year. It was really interesting this year, just hearing and seeing some of the information, the differences from last year. Clearly last year the kids were in and out of school. We weren't having as many suspensions, expulsions, so many challenges. Unfortunately, at the time that we received this report, they received a lot more than normal, and it was going into the spring, which tends to be the time of year where there is the most suspensions, issues. So she'll be coming back to DAC next year for that. Next section is DAC membership parent engagement. So the requirements that the state gives us is to have 3 parents of students who enrolled in the district, 1 teacher who is employed at the district, 1 school administrator employed by the district, at least 1 person who is involved in business in the community, and you'll often hear them referred to as a patron. So they're live in district, but they do not have a kid, a child in the schools. And then 1 parent of a student enrolled in a charter school. The charter school has been authorized by the school board. So District 20, this has never been a problem. We have dozens of parent involvement, guardian involvement, and probably one of the biggest ones in the state. So we're happy to see everybody again, and I think if anything, everyone was more enthusiastic this year than ever. So that was really good to see. One thing with the DAC membership is we are supposed to try and diversify as much as possible, meaning let's have different voices, whether it's IEP versus TAG, different incomes, different backgrounds. So that way we're making sure that all voices are being heard and really looking at the community. We also there to spearhead parent engagement wherever we can, such as parent academy events, parent sounding boards, different level committees, online surveys, encouraging focus groups, the list goes on. So it has been very involved in order to do that. And also really just supporting our school accountability committees. We provide training earlier in the school year for new school accountability members. And so they are set right. And then the last thing that the DAC does is the charter application review. If there is an application, it would be received by April 15th. We did not have one this year, but had we had one, there would be a subcommittee formed for that. So just really focused this year. One thing was to increase the number of parents, community members, guardians, and decrease administration numbers on the committee this year. And that was to really make sure, you know, administration is involved in a lot of meetings, in a lot of areas. So we just wanted to make sure that we are including as many different community patrons as we can. So that kind of ends the report section. I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to be at DAC. It's actually my 3rd year as I took over Mr. Temby when he was on the board. Finishing my 10th year on DAC. Still on SAC at Rampart, entering my 14th year on a SAC. I was able to represent Academy International, Pioneer, Mount Ridge Middle School, Chinook Trail Middle School, and Rampart while on the DAC, and budget for all the years and accreditation for this year. And I just appreciate you trusting me in this role. If there's any questions.
Mr. LaValle?
Questions?
Can you hear me, Mr. LaValle? How about this? Tiana, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't know what's going on, but I will just take my 2 cents and say, I appreciate you so much. I've sat in the room with you for many years, and I know the dedication. I know that you signed up for the wrong subcommittee, but I do know that you, just kidding. But I do know the efforts that you put into this district, and you're a solid member, and I'm grateful to you, and I just wanted to say thank you so much.
Thank you. Team budget all the way.
Yeah.
Ms. Collins, do you have anything that you'd like to say or ask?
I'm good, except just thank you so much to Mrs. Clark for just being just an amazing voice for our schools and our district, and for having such great leadership in this huge role. Thank you.
Am I live? Tiana, if it's obvious that you're a 100% improvement over your predecessor, but thanks. I don't think people appreciate the time commitment, and even if you're not attending a meeting, there's always the mental time commitment being involved in the DAC. So thank you. Thank you to Shannon, a long-standing DAC member also, for stepping to the plate, because sometimes you look left and right, and there aren't too many volunteers to step into that job. So thank you, Shannon, for your service. But if you could take back to the committee, both of you, our thanks for all the time that all the parents, all the administrators are putting into that committee. Dr. Field, thank you for your leadership. It is a big commitment, but it is a critical part of what we do, because we can't get into the granularity of what the committee does with the budget priorities and the accreditation process and the site reviews and all that. So it's tremendous work, and thank you very much for what you've done. And are you staying on the DAC?
No, this is my last official.
This is your last official act. Yeah. Well, thanks for your decade of service there. So.
All right, Mr. Salt.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you, as everyone else had said, for all the time that you spent. The report was fantastic. I had one question about and this is my own curiosity. So the patrons that we have that are part of the DAC makeup, where they own a business within the boundaries, do you know if they're typically also residents of District 20, or if they are outside?
Yes, so being a business owner is a recommendation, but the main criterion is that they do live in districts and that they do not have current students. So, for example, like Linda Van Meter was a community patron, just somebody who kind of really able to look at it from a different lens. But yes, they would be within D20.
Great, thank you.
Well, yeah, again, thank you, Ms. Clark, and thank you for the rest of the DAC, and I failed to thank them. I greatly appreciate it. I do have a couple of quick questions, and you may very well not know the answer to these, because they're somewhat buried and they're somewhat specific, and that's okay if you don't know them. I know you know a ton, but and I hope the answer to this is no. Is this the first time the board has ever seen suspension numbers? I know we've seen expulsion numbers. Have we ever seen suspension numbers? I don't think we have, and I appreciate that. Those are really good numbers to see, and so I just want to compliment the district for showing us those, because I don't remember seeing it. That's why I'm glad you guys are nodding your head. If you're like, oh yes, absolutely, every year I'm gonna be embarrassed, but I don't believe we have. So I just want to say thank you. And finally, this may be an offline later discussion, but I wonder if there's a way for us to see the percentages of teachers and other staff who are rated either highly effective, effective, partially effective, and ineffective. I would like to see that. I don't know if you all would like to see that. We could see that at a later time. We certainly don't need it tonight. Is that possible?
I would say certainly yes. Mr. Smart's team has all that data. It would just be.
Is it hard?
Timing issue. It would be the prior year's data, because right now is the evaluation period for staff. So they're still coming in. So if you wanted, what is 20, 21, 22 data, it would be later in the summer, but we could give, provide 2020, 2021 data, last year's data. Essentially, when I say last year, it's the year before,
right?
This current year. We could, I'm sure, Mr. Smart, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the timing of this meeting would be a real challenge. But if you deferred it at least one meeting, maybe in the July meeting, we could have it then. But as far as this report goes annually,
Yeah.
we could put it in this report. It'd be a year old.
And again, and I hope this is a 10-minute ask and not a 2-day ask. Is it fairly straightforward to do?
I don't know if it's 10 minutes, but we could do it. It wouldn't take us that long to pull things together.
Okay,
Miranda.
board, I'm seeing, is that reasonable? Because I do feel like I'd like to see those numbers of how we're rating our teachers and administrators and others. Just not individuals, just you know, raw numbers.
Yeah, overall.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I was gonna say, did we have effectiveness numbers for last year? Was that one of the things that were on hold?
Well, I think Susan can correct me if I'm wrong, or Cameron, but the difference in the last couple of years, I think the rating was still the same. It was what the rating was based on had changed because of the, you know, CMAS, you know, tests were canceled and all that kind of stuff. So I think the rating system was still there. It was just what it was based on. That criteria had changed. So it's not really apples to apples, if that's what you're after.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Appreciate it. All right, we now. Yeah. Oh, Ms. Cloninger, did you want to say something else? Forgive me.
Nope.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Next is monitoring report, executive limitation, policy EL 2.5, asset protection, Mr. Gregory.
Yes, Ms. Allen, please.
Oh, you know what? We forgot to do a roll call. Forgive me. We need to do a roll call to accept, receive the DAC report. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cloninger?
Aye.
Mrs. Cons?
Aye.
Mr. LaValle?
Aye.
Mr. Salt?
Aye.
Mr. Temby?
Aye.
It was right there, roll call. I just missed it. So take the credit for that. Monitoring report for executive limitations policy EL 2.5, asset protection, Mr. Gregory.
Ms. Allen, please.
Ms. Clark, I just want to say thank you, Ms. Hester, for both of you, the work that you've done, and Ms. Clark, it was a real pleasure, and thank you for being patient with me as I started that role in DAC Budget Subcommittee with very large feet to fill there, and very large shoes to fill. So thank you for all your service. All right. Good evening. The monitoring report that I'm sharing with you this evening is EL 2.5, and it has to do with asset protection. And the period that we're looking at is May 21st of 21 through May 20th of 2022. EL 2.5 has 19 policy provision statements. And through these statements, responsibility is placed on the superintendent to assure that assets are protected, adequately maintained, appropriately used, and not unnecessarily put at risk. The EL 2.5 report shows evidence of proper, appropriate, and inclusive insurance coverages for property and people. As a result, exposure to unnecessary risk of district assets, such as cash, physical property, and both electronic and physical records, is minimized. The report also highlights assets that were disposed of in compliance with district administrative policy and procedure, and highlights care of facilities and grounds through proper maintenance, cleaning, inspection, and repair and sustainability efforts. As noted in the report, we believe that the superintendent is in compliance with each of the 19 policy provision statements for EL 2.5. Before I take any questions regarding this executive limitation report, please just allow me to thank Kathy Watts for her outstanding work on this report. She is the Director for Budget and Finance, and this is a large report with 19 statements, and she always does a wonderful job gathering the information and putting it into a report that's easy to consume and understand. So thank you, Kathy. Now I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Mr. Salt.
Thank you. The first question that I had was related to 2.5.5. It talks about protecting intellectual property. I was curious, do we have intellectual property that we're protecting?
We really don't. I know that sounds silly, but trademarks, copyrights,
right.
You know, as an example, we don't develop software to earn money. We're a nonprofit. So we're not really in the business, if you will, of developing something that then we would charge others for. Our logo is not trademarked, other things of that nature. Even when you think about plans for our buildings, quite often those are copywritten by the architect we hire to draft those. So we don't really have intellectual property per se.
I would even add, to some of the great teaching lessons, some of the great stuff teachers do in classrooms, develop their own curriculum many times for courses. I'm going to use the word steal, maybe share is better, but public education, that there's a lot of sharing / stealing going on legally,
Kind
of
for the good of
ideas, what you might consider in other areas might be intellectual property. It doesn't really exist in public education that I've ever known.
Mr. Salt, were you implying that there's no intellectual activity in the district
Yeah.
or?
That is not at all what
Yeah.
I was
That's
implying.
good.
Thank you. I was just curious because I was a little surprised when I saw that. So
And I think it's listed there as just if something were to happen in the future, the purpose of the executive limitation, I think, is to be as broad to stand the test of time. And so perhaps at one point there is a situation where we have a trademark or a copyright or something that was developed in District 20 for whatever reason that needed to be protected in that manner. But right now we don't have that.
all right, thank you. The next question I had was related to sub-bullet 13 about facilities being clean, safe, and sanitary.
Yes.
I was curious if we had data that we could look at regarding staff and students' injuries, to see if there's specific buildings or areas within buildings or whatever that we could look at problematically to help prioritize making sure those are safe.
Sure. So our director for risk management is Peter Ristig, and he does a great job. He has a committee called the RMAC, which is the Risk Management Advisory Committee. It meets 4 times per year, and it's different staff members within District 20 who come together. They occupy different roles, and Pete does go ahead, and his team tracks the data that occur throughout the year in terms of injuries for staff, students, and what I would call the general public, visiting events, attending an athletic event over the weekend or in the evening. And so that group reviews that data 4 times per year. They look for trends, they make recommendations. In terms of what are some of the trends that Mr. Ristic sees in the data, in terms of staff injury, he really refers to it as situational awareness, that someone might be navigating a parking lot, not paying attention, and they step up on the curb is what should happen, but they fail to step up, as an example. Or we've had a number of times when there's boxes in the hallway and someone has to reach for something, and instead of going to get a ladder, they use the boxes, and that collapses out from under them. These are some examples, and he would qualify it as situational awareness.
Miss Allen and Mr. Gregory, Pinnacle Assurance,
Mhm.
Do they assist us with some of the risk issues
Yes.
on site?
Yes, and in fact, one of the reasons that Mr. Ristig developed this Risk Management Advisory Committee is because having that process actually helps us in terms of our rates, because they're seeing that not only are we being reactive in our practice, but we're being proactive by analyzing the data, gathering it. We do, Pete and his team will decide that there needs to be particular trainings put into place. So yes, part of where this was born is in that partnership with Pinnacle.
Do we know offhand if we have worked with the Department of Insurance to get a cost containment certification for the district? My business did, applied, had good practices, and we did receive a 5% premium deduction.
I don't know that
savings.
answer. I don't know if Mr. Smith does, but I can certainly research it with Mr. Ristig tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at our premium, it's fairly sizable, obviously, for a district this large. Now, the good news is many of our people are 8810 administrative types, but we do have people in facilities, security, personnel, or drivers, which are
Yes.
higher risk.
Absolutely.
So 5% is a material number.
It's
So
sizable.
it would be a cost containment certification through the Colorado Department of Insurance. and Pinnacle can assist you with that. And I've got information if you need it.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's the same, Mr. Timby, but we have had risk assessments performed. And I don't know if that's what feeds that decision. I think it's a separate component, but that's what we have reacted to in the past are these risk assessments, which are, various, sometimes it's our carriers that do it. Sometimes it's a third party, but I don't know how long it's been since we've even done a risk assessment. I will say the jobs you mentioned are typically the higher risk for injury jobs, but the one that's at highest risk, actually, we don't have. That happens in the kitchens. Since we contract out our food service component, that unless it's an issue with our facility, it's really Sodexo's issue to deal with workers' comp type injuries or any kind of injuries that happen because they're employees of Sodexo, and that's where the most in other districts. I can't speak because we've never really dealt with it, but in other districts, that's the highest number of injuries. I don't know about cost, but the highest number of injuries happen in the kitchen areas.
Yeah, and part of the process is your carrier does give a testimonial to the Department of Insurance as you're seeking that, and they'll be looking at loss run data and all that over a trailing 3-year period. But it's a great process to go through.
Great.
It's kind of a self-audit, but it also has tremendous financial upside. So.
Well, we'll check with him tomorrow and see if that's something that's been looked at or not.
And I don't know if we're eligible.
Right.
But I believe all businesses, organizations that are policy holders in the state of Colorado are eligible.
It's certainly worth looking into.
Yeah.
Thank you. For staff, another area that we see is in terms of trends are sometimes staff have some type of injury related to a student regulation issue. And in fact, that there was a higher incident rate of that a few years ago, and Mr. Ristig partnered with some of our other departments as well to train staff on how to de-escalate, how to, all of those strategies to help mitigate some of those situations as well. So he has become involved in that aspect as well. For kids, most of the injuries occur recess, kind of that unstructured time, and then in the classroom because they spend such a significant amount of time there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Two more quick questions, or one more quick question. Related to 16 here, I was looking at the art that was included for the Earth Day stuff. That was
They do
phenomenal.
a great job.
They do. I was curious, and this maybe more for Ms. Cortez than for you, is did we put that on the website to display? Awesome. Yep. It was phenomenal. So I just want to make sure we were sharing it. Thanks.
And if you go into some of our schools now, what you will see is there's 4 groups. So you've got the K3 group, then 4th grade and 5th grade have the contest for the poster, middle school and high school. And the number 1 winners of each one of those, a beautiful poster size there's like 15 or 10 posters, depending on the level that goes to each school for that level, and they are able to display them all around the school. So it's another way, and the student who did it, they get their own poster as well. There's a lot of pride associated with that.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Cloninger?
I just wanted to say thank you, Becky, to you and your team. And I know the work that you do, and I appreciate Will bringing up the piece that he did, and maybe that's something that we can have a conversation about. I mean, certainly not in the audit committee, but in that self-auditing thought process. I really like the level of detail that both people on our board and your team go to protect this district. But thank you to you and Brian and Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Just real quick for people that don't know, this is an executive limitation. This is really a board policy that we basically impose on the superintendent. And we say, Mr. Gregory, you may not allow these certain things to happen. And like you said, 19 different things. This is a great report. it's so detailed. I don't know if other districts do this. I'm so used to us doing this sort of detail, but it's phenomenal, and I think it's really important. It just protects our, like I said, asset, and I just really appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Watts, as well for helping. This is a statement, and are there any areas of this policy that administration feels is no longer necessary, needs to be updated, or additions that need to be made? The board reserves the right to disagree and say, no, we still want that. But I kind of throw it out to them because this is more, you all deal with this on a daily basis. And if you all are thinking, gosh, why do we have to spend all this time looking at X, whatever X may be? I think I'm willing to give the administration liberty to come to us and say, you know what, we think this policy might be better if we added this or subtracted that. I just throw it out to you for future consideration.
I mean, I would say that it's pretty comprehensive.
Very.
And almost as we talked about a little bit ago with Mr. Salt's question around the intellectual property, I think it's okay that some things may not apply because maybe in 5 years it does. But it always helps us when you go through one of these reports, when we prepare it, it really gets our mind going where we're thinking about each one. And so you don't lose track. And so my humble opinion is I think it's comprehensive. And while some might not be applicable every year, it could be in a few years, so it's nice to have it there.
Very good. Mr. Gregg, were you going to say?
Yeah, just agree. I think people change, right? They come in and out. And whether it's board members, superintendents, CFO, COO, principals, I think all of the components of this are good. And don't need to be removed, even though it may feel like it becomes old hat once you've seen it several times. You could just imagine somebody new coming in. This gives really good guidance to what the expectation is.
Yep.
So something doesn't get forgotten.
Yeah, that's why I'm not advocating changing. I'm just kind of saying if you all are thinking that, but that's great. I appreciate that. All right. If there are no other comments, we're going to go through the MRE. As a superintendent, Ms. Cloninger and Ms. Cons, just butt in. Feel free if you have a comment on this. Is the superintendent's interpretation of the policy reasonable? Is there sufficient evidence to determine compliance for each section? Are all sections in compliance? Yes. Recognition of exemplary performance or concerns regarding performance. I think this was an excellent report. Would you like to see additional or different evidence, or should any part of this policy be changed in the next reporting cycle? I think the answer right now is no. I'm seeing head nods. Do you see evidence which is extraneous or no longer necessary? Very good. Thank you. Next one up is the monitoring report for executive limitation policy 2.10 district calendar. Mr. Gregory.
Dr. Smith, please.
All right. Good evening. It's my pleasure to share the executive limitations 2.10 district calendar monitoring report with you. EL 2.10 contains 15 provision statements, not quite 19. Becky and I are competitive, but 15 provision statements, and you have already received this report on your packets or in your packets and reviewed the findings. I'll summarize some of the statements, but really just to share rationale for declaring our overall compliance. So EL 2.10 states district calendar planning for any year or remaining part of any fiscal year will not materially impede achievement of the board's ends, priorities, create disorganized or inconsistent schedules across the district, or fail to be derived from a multi-year plan. Our current calendar framework and planning on a rolling 3-year schedule has served us well. That said, we also have a published calendar for 2022 and 23. And next year we will have the 12 2-hour late starts. So with all of that, we are in compliance. What questions do you have for me?
Mr. Salt.
Thank you. So I had a question about the calendar schedule. So the one that we had in the packet was a look back saying how we were in compliance for the 21-22 school year.
That's right. We were looking back for monitoring.
Sure. The way that and this is my interpretation as I'm reading through the policy, is that it says the superintendent will not prepare a calendar without the following considerations. So for me, that looks more future looking, like as we're preparing this calendar for the 22-23 school year.
Right.
And so that was more my comment, was
It's a little bit of both, right? We're looking back to monitor to make sure that we met those 15 criteria, and then using those 15 criteria to build the calendar for the next 3 years as well.
Sure. And so I guess with that being said, like I understand where that's coming from. I guess more my point is, should we also include, to make sure for the compliance sake, that we have the 22-23 calendar accounted for in that in the next cycle?
Just including it in the packet, or we have it published already?
Well, for the compliance, as we're talking through and saying, yes, we're in compliance, I feel like that should be part of the support that we're using to show that we're within compliance.
Sure. Yeah, we could do that for sure.
I think that's an excellent point, and I'm trying to find the actual verbiage, and I believe you that if it says for the, okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, which number?
It's the second paragraph before you get to the number, last paragraph before the number. It says
About prepare a district calendar. Mr. Tim, do you have, or anybody else? I've never thought, this is why it's nice getting new board members. You see something from a completely different perspective. It's like, never thought of it like that. Mr. Tim, do you have a comment or thought? I'm mulling it over. It makes a lot of sense that perhaps we should in the future, not now, but in the future.
Well, I think I understand it, but this is a monitoring report from a previous period. So what's implied in that statement above the numbered items is that at that time, leading into that year, we adhered to these things, right?
That's right. That's right.
So that's how I read this versus it not implying, but looking at the next year. So we were leading into the review period with these tenants, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So I get where you're going at, but I think this hails back several months leading into the review period.
That's right. That's right. And I think the 3-year rolling calendar came up later in this whole process. So this was established criteria many years ago around what those 15 criteria should be for calendars.
Sure. And I think part of my thought is when we're looking back, it's great to know where we ended, but there's certain things that may be out of our control. And so to me, it's about making sure that the calendar that we're putting out, the calendar that we're saying this is going to be what we're looking at, adheres to this policy. And so that was why I was saying future looking as equal as back as rears looking, I suppose.
I will say that is something that we always, and I should know this, if we vote on future calendars, I think we do. So we in fact vote. So if you will, we vote to approve calendars. So I'm okay with, I appreciate that. That's good insight. I do feel I'm okay with saying, yeah, the superintendent will not have prepared, if you will, a district calendar. In other words, you did it last year for the monitor, for the time of the monitor where I was looking back. You did not fail to prepare a district calendar without the following considerations. Is that reasonable to say that that's kind of, perhaps we want to modify that verbiage there to be more clear? I don't know.
I think it's good how it is.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, if we're voting on a calendar for the next school year, that we need to make sure that it's within compliance of this. And so, I mean, I see it as future looking. I don't have a problem on the backwards looking, but I feel like having the future looking calendar as part of the support for compliance makes sense to me. But listen, I'm open.
Yeah.
It's just my thought.
I feel like generally monitoring reports are always looking backwards. And that's my thought is we're looking backwards just to make sure we did it. This verbiage, though, I admit could be interpreted to say future. Yeah, go ahead.
To be fair, they've already presented a future-looking calendar, and so that is arrears looking back at the future calendar that has already been developed and presented.
Oh, I see what you're saying. In other words, yeah. In other words, it was the calendars were voted on and approved at a previous meeting for the future.
And I believe at that time, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Smith, but I've seen it many times, and I think this is accurate. When he presents those future calendars, he also goes through these 15 elements, and when he presents that to the board, showing that the calendar was based upon these 15 elements. I don't know if we go through each 15 of them, but
Not
But I
typical.
remember hearing all of that every year as, at the point that we're looking forward. It's also taking into consideration the policy. So there's really, it's kind of locked pretty tight that nothing, unless the board approves it, right? This is talking about what we can't propose to you. You could always say, well, you know, some special circumstances out there, and we're going to propose a different kind of calendar that may violate something, but that's with the board's approval. And I've always interpreted with the board's approval of being, that's okay then.
Yeah.
Mr. Lavelle, can I suggest that when we go through the approval of the 3-year calendar, that just these basic tenets or things we attempt to adhere to is covered as part of that presentation, so they're all here.
Sure.
But I want to make sure that we're delineating that this is a monitoring report from the past that went into the prior year's calendar. So I don't want to commingle those two things. This is a monitoring report from a prior period.
That's right.
When we approve the 3-year calendar, these should be the assumptions that are
Right.
going into that planning process for all 3 years,
Yep.
which we approve.
And we can lay that out very clearly
Yep.
for sure. No problem.
Does that make sense?
Ms. Cloninger, you had a comment, I think?
Yeah, sorry, we got to figure this out. The mute thing, I mean, I understand what you're trying to say, I think, Mr. Salt. However, I definitely appreciate what Mr. Timby is saying and the fact that, I mean, I agree, it's good to have different perspectives, but I don't think that this needs to change. I think that it's clear the way that it is. That's my 2 cents.
Ms. Cons, do you have an opinion or a thought?
Not much at this time. I really thought it was pretty clear as presented, you know, in the 2.10, but I'm open to all discuss further if needed.
Okay, so I'm just, Mr. Salt, are you good with keeping status quo, or would you like to have us change something, talk about it in the MRE to do something off base?
What we're doing is fine, like I said, and so I don't know if we want to, I don't know if we want to clear up any of the language. It was just, there was a little confusion because we've already been presented with the calendar. That's why I'm fine with leaving it as is. That's fine.
Okay, let's leave it as is, but that was, I think was an excellent point. Like I say, it's always good to have a different set of eyes. Any other? Yes, Mr. Salt.
I had another question. And so one of the things we've done in this upcoming calendar is provide the PLC time. I think it's 12 days that we have. My question was for the board, is that something we want to revise in policy and codify having that PLC time, or even if it's not specific to PLC, but codifying some form of protected planning time for teachers in the calendar moving forward? Do we want to wait a year and see how it plays out before we make any changes? It was just something that was important to us, and I just didn't know if that was something that we wanted to try to protect or not.
Isn't it tacitly codified by virtue of approving the 3-year calendar with that embedded in it?
That's what I
think
thought.
I think what you're saying is we've got 15 limitations, if you will, on the calendar. That would be a 16th to say that the board says you will have PLC time. I'm a little agnostic on it. Honestly, I kind of defer that in that one. If admin were to come up with a good reason to not do it, you know, they haven't done it in the past, I would be okay with that. So I'm a little hesitant just because that may be more admin than board, but again, I could be probably convinced otherwise.
Can I say something here? I think that what we're doing is getting, and I appreciate that, Tom. I think what we're doing is getting a little operational. And it was in the verbiage that I read that time would be held kind of sacred to those teachers, you know, not to have meetings, not to have things put in that place. So I feel like we would be getting too much into the operational piece. And I believe that we have the right people in place to monitor that.
So I hear what you're saying, but these executive limitations are operational in nature in the sense that we're advising what operational procedures we will allow and we will not allow. And so the whole nature of executive limitations are operational at some level. So I disagree that this is getting too operational. It's more of a, in my opinion, a matter of, is it something that the board wants to make sure is perpetuated in calendars beyond the 3 year?
But that's the part that is
to your point about protecting the time, that is highly operational. And I'm not saying we're going to put that in here. What I'm saying is, do we want to make sure that there is time carved out in future calendars based off of policy? And that was the question.
Can I make a recommendation that as we discuss this in the MRE, item number 13 says schedule staff development days when most productive and of maximum benefit. You could also add and professional learning communities onto that line and achieve that goal.
That's fine with me. I'm not.
And again, I would defer to our superintendent and team to see if they want to embed that in future assumptions and considerations.
Let me ask you this. Let's do that in MRE, and Mr. Salt, Dr. Smith, if you two want to just get together and or you two, whatever, you know, if you want to defer to Dr. Smith, and just talk about and see if that makes sense. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't have strong feelings one way or the other. It was something that we did differently with the calendar this time that I know the board thought was important, the administration thought was important to make sure that we had this protected time. We've had many teachers up here talking about the fact that they've had it, you know, infringed upon, or they don't have it. And so just trying to pull all of those concerns together, my question is that something that's important enough to this body to make sure it's codified? So no matter, to Mr. Gregory's point, people change. So no matter who's sitting in the chair in 5 years, that's still protected time. And Mr. Timby, I have no preference on how that, it was more of a conversation of, is this something we want to include? I really don't care if it is, not that I don't care if it is. I think it's important. I don't know if it's something we need to necessarily include in policy, and if so, how we do that. It was just more of a talking point of, is that something that we find important enough as a group to codify?
Can I just say something? I don't know if I'm even on the mic.
You're on. You're on.
Okay, sorry. The audio is really terrible today. I do believe that's going into operational, and I know that we have a little disagreement, for lack of a better word, about what operations is, but I believe that I personally do not believe that it's necessary, and we've already spent more time on this than is necessary. That's my thought.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it is operational. I think it is a reasonable thing, but at this point, I'm agnostic. I don't necessarily see that we need to change it. Just that's my view. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other thoughts? Thank you, though. We need to bring that stuff up, and I really appreciate you doing that, because that's great, gets us thinking. So thank you. MRE for EL 2.10 district calendar, is the superintendent's interpretation of the policy reasonable? Yes. Is there sufficient evidence to determine compliance for each section? Yes. Are all sections in compliance? Yes. Recognition of exemplary performance or concerns regarding performance? No. We should. You did a great job too, Dr. Smith. I don't want to take anything away from you on this.
It's all right. Becky has 19 and I have 15. So
yeah. Would you like to see different evidence, or should any part of this policy be changed in the next reporting cycle? Do we want to add that or not? It sounds like Ms. Cloninger is okay with not doing that. I'm okay with not doing that, but do you have an opinion?
I'd submit that maybe Dr. Smith and Mr. Gregory have a discussion about it, and see if
Okay.
it warrants inclusion or we're fine as is.
So let's do that then for section 2, number 1. Would you like to see additional evidence, or should any part of this policy be changed? Let's say perhaps look at number 13 to see if we want to add PLC time to that. Is that reasonable? Fair? And then we can include Mr. Salt as well, if you all got that. Okay. Do you see evidence which is extraneous or no longer necessary? No. All right. Thank you. Next is we have 4 governance process policies, and Mr. Tembe, I'm going to let you go through each one of these. I do have to do an MRE for each one, but we'll just roll with it. So you have the floor. The first one is GP 4.5, board superintendent relationship.
Mr. LaValle, I stand between this and adjournment. So I'm going to be really concise. I did have a multimedia presentation about this, but I'm going to forego that this evening. So as we go through these 4 governing process policies, Ms. Mattson has put together a memorandum, kind of a recap at the end of each. And so I will defer to this. The board has gone through these as part of the read ahead for this meeting. But I did just want to make sure that everybody really understood what these 4 are about. So obviously I'll start with 4.5, the monitoring board governance process and board superintendent relationship. So the purpose of monitoring the Board of Education's governing process and board superintendent relationship policies is to determine the degree to which the Board of Education adheres to and fulfills its own policy commitments, and to ensure continued improvement. The policies we self-assess are board superintendent relationship policies 3.0 to 3.5 and governance process policies 4.0 to 4.14. So as you can see, and again, I don't know what we can get up on screen. Are the memorandums a part of this, Mark? Mr. Stackley? No. Just that recap. Okay, well, they are in board docs. And again, the period for all 4 of these that I'm going to review, the period monitor was May 28th, 2021 to May 27th, 2022. And to the best of my knowledge, this information is accurate as of May 27th, 2022. This report should reflect that the Board of Education is in compliance with Governance Policy 4.5, monitoring board governance process and board superintendent relationship policies.
Okay, unless, if somebody has a comment, just chime in. If not, I'm going to just go right to the MRE. Is there sufficient evidence to determine compliance for each section? I think yes. Are all sections in compliance? Yes. Recognition of exemplary performance or concerns regarding performance? No. Would you like to see different evidence, or should any part of this policy be changed in the next reporting cycle? No. Do you see evidence which is extraneous or no longer necessary? No. Thank you.
Okay, the next GP that we're going to be looking at is monitoring report for governance policy 4.7, board committee principles. And the Board of Education committees will be used to support and inform the work of the Board of Education by increasing the efficiency and effectiveness of the board in its governance role. This policy applies only to groups that are formed by the Board of Education action and not those committees established under the authority of the superintendent. Unless otherwise specified by the board, all board committee meetings are open to the public. Accordingly, board committees are to assist the board to do its job, not to direct or to advise the staff, and never to supersede the authority of the board or the superintendent. Committee expectations include its purpose, decision-making processes, reporting requirements, and authority will be stated in a formal board charge. Board committees may not speak or act for the board except when formally given such authority. Any direction to the superintendent relative to a committee recommendation will come from the full board and not the committee, and the Board of Education will approve the membership of the committee. To the best of my knowledge, this information is accurate as of May 27th. This report should reflect that the Board of Education is in compliance with governance policy 4.7 board committee principles.
Thank you, Mr. Temby. I do have a quick question on this one. I think I know the answer. The DAC, we always post those. I see those. And do we post audit committee meetings to the public? Yeah, thank you.
We don't. And I spoke with Miss Allen today, and the calendar feed on the Board of Education page at the bottom, I can start posting those there if you guys would like me to.
My only thought is as 4.7 says, unless otherwise specified by the board, all board committee meetings are open to the public. And if it's open to the public, then it should be posted, in my view. So, okay.
So CBOC and Audit Committee.
So, yeah, I do want to make a comment about CBOC. So we have two standing committees, but we are allowed to create committees for a specific task. And when that task is completed, they are disbanded. And so we actually have three, two of which are standing. Yeah. So.
And that's a great point. Yeah, CBOC is a current committee, and I think that it should also be, what do you call that? Posted. I think we should do that. Yep.
Is the public invited to those meetings?
Yes.
Can they just show up?
All board committee meetings are open to the public. Absolutely, they can show.
So I could put a room location in.
Yes, I think, and we should absolutely.
But they're not members of those committees, so they'd be there in observational roles.
Correct. Only observing. Yep. Okay. Any other thoughts? All right. Is there sufficient evidence to determine compliance for each section? Yes. Are all sections in compliance? Yeah. Recognition of exemplary performance or concerns regarding performance. Would you do we want to mention something about that we need to post committee meetings?
Would
Yeah,
it
I
be?
think under recommendations.
Yes, under recommendations.
Yeah. Where's that? Did I just?
Towards the end. Would you like to see something?
So section 2, item 1.
Would you like to see additional or different evidence, or should any part of this policy be changed?
I don't know if the policy needs.
No, it doesn't.
Recommendation.
Yeah, do you see evidence which is extraneous or no longer necessary? I think it would be a concern regarding performance, just because we're not doing what the policy says technically, because we never have.
Well, I was gonna say, the meetings are open to the public. We're just not doing our job of posting those and making it easily accessible. So we are in compliance because we're not preventing people who show up to those meetings.
Yep, I agree.
But we're not making it very easy. So I would say that's where you're talking about putting it as a performance would make sense. But
all sections are in compliance, yes.
Yes.
Concerns regarding performance, that would be a place where we should say,
increase success, knowledge and accessibility of.
Or something like board, all committee meetings need to be posted or something like that in the future. Okay, very good, thank you. And then we already covered 1 and 2. Thank you, that's it for that one.
Okay, our next monitoring report is for governance policy 4.8, board committee structure. And I will be succinct. We just discussed the 2 standing committees. We talked about the CBOC being a committee that had a specific charge. And once we have completed all the bond work and we are through all the finances and all the recaps, that will be disbanded. If we have a future bond issue, we would probably impanel another committee. Looking at all the evidence of the fact that we've got these committees and they're doing their charge, I believe, to the best of my knowledge, this information is accurate as of May 27th, 2022. This report should reflect that the Board of Education is in compliance with governance policy 4.8, board committee structure.
Okay, Anne-Marie, for GP 4.8 board committee structure, is there sufficient evidence to determine compliance for each section? Yes. Are all sections in compliance? Yes. Recognition of exemplary performance or concerns regarding performance? No. Would you like to see additional or different evidence, or should any part of this policy be changed in the next reporting cycle? No. Do you see evidence which is extraneous or no longer necessary? No. Thank you.
Okay, and our final GP is GP 4.9, board agenda planning. And what this policy is about is the Board of Education will adopt an annual meeting schedule, which will include 2 regular meetings a month for the purpose of conducting board business. Exceptions will be the month of July and December, during which 1 regular board meeting will be scheduled. Regularly scheduled board meetings may be canceled at the discretion of the board, as we did in May. To accomplish its stated objectives, the Board of Education will follow an annual agenda planning calendar that schedules continuing review, monitoring, and refinement of all policies, linkage meetings with stakeholder groups, and activities to improve Board of Education performance through education, enriched input, and deliberation. To the best of my knowledge, this information is accurate as of May 27th, 2022. This report should reflect that the Board of Education is in compliance with governance policy 4.9, board agenda planning.
Thank you, Mr. Temby. Monitoring the MRE for GP 4.9. Is there sufficient evidence to determine compliance for each section? Are all sections in compliance? A recognition of exemplary performance or concerns regarding performance? Nope. The first two answers are yes. Would you like to see additional or different evidence, or should any part of this policy be changed in the next reporting cycle?
And so I know we talked briefly about this previously, but I just want to mention it again, is if we are consistently eliminating one of the board meetings in May, should we make it part of our policy to not schedule 2 meetings in May because of graduations?
Yeah, I brought that up. Actually, I remember this distinctly, I think 3 years ago. And
Could I make a comment?
yeah.
The pandemic was aberrant to our normal cadence. And we actually felt, because of the timing of June graduations 2 years ago, that it was worthy of having 2 May meetings to get our business done, because we had truncated time in June to look at the budget and adopt the budget. So we felt as though we needed that working time. So I like the verbiage as is, just because of that small percentage chance that we may need those 2 meetings. And so history bore that out over the past couple of years.
So yeah, like I say, I literally brought that same thing up, and we're like, why do we do this if we're just going to cancel? And sure enough, we didn't cancel the 1 year. So
no, I think that's fine. Like I said, it's just want to at least bring it up. So thanks.
The other thing, just real quickly, our graduations are contingent upon the Air Force Academy's decision as to when to have theirs, and they have changed that in the past to a week or 2. Either I think it's been forward, which then might force us to move our graduations to a different time, which may then allow a different meeting schedule in May too. But just know that we're contingent. We're the tail of the dog when it comes to using Clune Arena.
yeah, I understand. Again, thank you though, good question. So should any policies be changed? I think the answer will be no. Do you see evidence which is extraneous or no longer necessary? No. Very good. We are not quite done. There's one more thing we have, Mr. Temby, and that is board development, budget discussion if needed for the proposed fiscal 22-23 budget. Does anybody have any comments or questions or discussion? I thought Ms. Sukas brought up an excellent question, which is kind of weird because we normally never talk about questions. This is one time of the year that we do. Mr. Gregory, why do we only have $3 million for repairs in our budget?
Depends on how long you want to talk about this, because I can go on forever.
Yeah, I think, go ahead.
It's an issue. I'll put it that way. There's no doubt it's an issue. I would say that I'd be happy, or I could volunteer Ms. Allen to be happy to meet with whoever wants to, because remember, every year there's a budget process. There's the adopted budget, then there's a mid-year revision to that budget. And the answer to the question is, why so little this year compared to some prior years? It's all answered in what happened at the mid-year time, because more money was put in to cap reserve in the middle of the year, which now when you look historically backwards, it looks like we started with more money. So there's an answer to the question from that standpoint mechanically, but she's exactly right. A couple $1 million a year is not sufficient to take care of. I can't remember what the audit says, but the audit gives our asset value, and it's hundreds of millions of dollars worth of physical assets we have in facilities, and a couple $1 million is short. Now, throughout the year, we try to do what we can to sweep up some dollars, but it's not a planned approach to it. It's a reactionary approach to it. And I would say they'll probably have further discussions in the coming weeks about this topic also.
Yeah, my simple answer was, we don't have the money. That was my answer, but it was an excellent question.
Well, every dollar competes, right? So a dollar that goes to cap reserve does not go to salaries or benefits or somewhere else. So that's the balancing act. And then the last thing I would say is, going all the way back to 2010, the Great Recession, the negative factor, all those things that are still out there. That's one of the pushes on that decision too, is in order to maintain staff in classrooms, maintain as many bus drivers as we could and facilities folks as we could. At that time, the district chose to take on the budget reductions through capital and maintenance so that we could keep people and keep them paid. So that was a conscious decision that now the state has never allowed us a chance to recover from that unless we were to do something about salaries and benefits to create money for capital and maintenance. So
yeah, very good. Any other comments about that? Thank you for the question. Was our business this evening focused on activities that promote and honor our mission statement, our belief statements, and our global end statement that reminds us that all students will have the knowledge, skills, and character necessary for successful transition to the next level, and upon graduation will be prepared for success? This meeting is adjourned. We had 15 people watching online.